Back in 1981, Suzuki's original Katana caused quite a stir in the superbike circles. Its divisive looks were very alternative and very Marmite. Nearly 40 years on, they're at it again with a new version. We went along to ride it through the winding roads of the Cotswolds to see if it can still cut today's mustard.
Okay, just a few initial thoughts on Suzuki's new Katana. Listen, I've done about 60 miles on it. They claim a bit more, but it hasn't exactly been summery. It's either been wet or absolutely chucking it down for this ride. Now, let's not be hard on it, because you can discover quite a bit about a bike when the grip level's a bit reduced. It's certainly a very useful, usable, friendly, easy to manage type bike, which sort of surprised me. I thought it'd have a bit more attitude than it has. Sounds the part. I think it looks better in the flesh than it does in any pictures you might have seen of it. But it doesn't have that sort of visual impact of the original 80s bike. Now, that's no bad thing. Listen, the 80s were, what, 40 years ago nearly now. Things are bound to have changed since then. Let's just go through what I think are the real plus points. I really like this bike, but it's got a couple of things that bother me about it. We'll come to those in due course. Something I'll mark very highly is the motor. It's got just under about 150 horsepower, but that doesn't really tell the story. It's got power everywhere. It's a retuned GSXR 1000K5 engine. Now, back in the day, that was much praised for its sort of just solid drive and usability. It might be an inline four, but it's always got a response to throttle opening. Right, let's get the official line from a man at Suzuki, Steve Hackler. Steve, what do you do at Suzuki?
So I'm based within the marketing team for motorcycles, and I'm the product specialist. So I help the rest of the team out with making sure the right bikes are shown in the right way and trying to get the right messages to the right people.
Is it all down to you? Would Suzuki not be the same without me? Is that what we're saying?
I'm told it wouldn't be the same without me, but it's no, we're a good team. Everybody's got their kind of the specialisms and what they're good at.
Now, you say it's appealing to the modern audience, or trying to. Who specifically is going to like and want to buy this bike, do you think?
I think broadly speaking, this is both in terms of what the factory had in mind when they developed the project, and we've actually seen the fruits of this in the UK already, having the bike exhibited at NEC, and the volume of people that came through the doors there and came to see us on the Suzuki stand.
So, I mean, what, a load of people rushing up and going, "Core, make it, let's have it."
Yeah, so we showed the bike at the end of last year at Motorcycle Live. We had a nice big display, both colour versions, the original Katana that was kindly loaned to us from a collector as well. And you, broadly speaking, got two types of customers. You got younger customers that didn't necessarily know the original and just like, oh, what's this? And it's very, very different looking from just conventional litre street bikes, and we're just interested as a standalone bike, and I'd probably put myself in that camp as a motorcyclist. And then you had people that had owned the original, still own the original, had relatives that had owned the original that knew of that bike, and it sort of had a special place in their heart.
I've only done those 60 miles on it. It's far too early to say what it's really like, but towards the end the bike was sort of coming to me, and it strikes me as something that offers quite a bit of fun, but in a practical, usable and useful fashion. However, you can't go too fast on it for too long because it doesn't have any sort of wind protection, so above 80 for any sort of sustained periods, you're going to get a bit of that, a bit of strain. And the thing that really bothers me about it is the tank. And the tank well, the tank size and range, listen, it's 12 litres. It's not even 3 gallons, that. And that probably equates to a tank range of, listen, I'll have to do the maths and I'll have to work out the consumption in due course, but you're going to need to stop pretty much every 100 miles or so. And for a bike that, I don't know, that is capable in terms of its sort of riding position and general sort of relaxed and generally comfortable status, that's a bit of a shortcoming for me. Listen, stopping for fuel is a massive chore in my book. It just interrupts everything, and to have to do it every 100 miles or so really knocks the average score down of this bike. I would imagine living with it on that basis alone is gonna be a bit of a pain. I don't know, you decide. Suzuki say that most people want to stop around that mileage anyway. This is a bike, they say, that's built for people who are not interested in doing tons of miles in any given sort of hit. So while it might suit them, I'm not so sure about myself. Otherwise, fairly big scores, quite like it. More tomorrow. Right, day 2 of my ride on Suzuki's new Katana. Listen, it was the same in that we rode the same route, the lovely roads of the Cotswolds. It was the same in that I enjoyed the bike. I loved its manageability, I loved its engine, I loved the fact that it just worked. But what I didn't like, and what was exactly the same, was the fact that it was raining. It was supposed to be dry today. I came back because of that to have a go again. But what did it do? It just hosed it down with the old pleut, eel pleut, they say in France. I mean, it was a complete washout. However, just as we came to the end of the ride, I got a chance to ride it on drier sort of sections of road, and you sort of sensed the spirit of the bike, and I got a bit more excited about it. So, after having a quick bite to eat, I've gone for a bit of a 10-minute howl on it, and man, it's just a completely different motorcycle. It like comes alive, it's got spirit, it's got some aggression, it's got loads of excitement. I really enjoyed it. It just, like I say, it just became a very different and much more exhilarating thing to be on. You can probably tell by my excitement that I very much enjoyed it. So, to go from being as sort of useful as it has to the sort of exciting thing that it becomes as soon as you start spinning the motor a bit higher, just makes me give it a much bigger score. Listen, I still can't love it because the tank's too small. You know, if you really take advantage of everything it's got, you're probably going to get into the 30s to the gallon, you know, maybe high 30s, but you're definitely going to have to stop every less than 100 miles. You'll take it to somewhere like Scotland or Wales to have an absolutely blinding time on it, but after 70 miles, you'll start worrying about whether you can fill it up again or not. While I'm moaning, the steering lock's a bit naff, and if you ride it in the rain like all of us have for a couple of days, you get covered in crap, and it's just going to take an age to clean as well. So what's the deal? Have fun in fair weather with a backup truck and you're going to love this bike, I think. At the moment, I like it a great deal. I'd need to live with it for longer than I have done. I've only done about, what? Let's do the maths. I did about 70 miles on it yesterday. 100 and odd today. Yeah, it's sort of ton 80 in total. Very much enjoyed it. Whether I could love it will take a lot longer than that and a bigger tank.